Hi guys, it's Tara with Gaia Tarot 13, and I thought I would just make a quick kind of like about me video addressing a couple of the questions that I get commonly asked. So it's just easier to answer them all in video form, put something out there for you guys telling you a little bit more about myself. So the first question I get asked a lot is, my name is Gaia Tarot, my like pseudonym Gaia Tarot 13, and so I get asked, what does that represent? Well, since like my given name is Terra, it's spelled Terra, like Earth, it's Latin for Earth, and Gaia is Greek for Earth. So I chose that because I liked the little play on words. And the number 13 is it's a number I've kind of always felt drawn to. I love it. I love that it's like supposed to be a magical, mysterious kind of, even like a culty kind of number, 13th floor and Friday the 13th and all that kind of stuff. So I'm drawn to it for that. But also, when I started doing tarot, if you know, if you're familiar with tarot, the 13th card in the tarot is death, and it corresponds to Scorpio in astrology, and I am a Scorpio. So that's kind of how my pseudonym, Gaia Tarot 13, kind of came together, because it's just like a sort of real reflection of me. It's essentially like if I was to put all of my personality and my name and myself into a pseudonym. That's what it is. It's Gaia Tarot 13. The second question I get asked a lot is, have I always wanted to be a tarot reader? And the short answer of that is no. The long answer is that I actually had a very specific life path. I knew exactly what I wanted to be my entire life, and I worked towards that, and I'm actually trained as an attorney. And so I practiced law for a while, and I do practice law currently on a part time kind of side basis. I'm really trying to make this tarot my focus, but I'm actually educated as a lawyer. And so I've always known that that's what I wanted to be. And then a couple years ago, I was feeling much more called into the tarot and spirituality and astrology and all those kind of things that I had been interested in, but they just kind of took a back burner. So I was making them much more in the forefront of my life over the past several years. I would say probably about 2012 is when it started really coming to the forefront, which is funny because I know that whole like 2012 shift thing, right? So I guess I was affected by the beginning of the shift, caught up in it, and things started coming to the forefront. And then a couple years ago, I was like, no, I'm gonna get real serious about this. So that's when I was getting, the stronger pull, and it's just kind of been consistent since then. So, no, I haven't always wanted to be a tarot reader. I certainly didn't imagine myself being a professional tarot reader, but life happens, things change, and that's what I am striving for now, is making that my entire gig and kind of putting the law on the back burner and making the tarot forefront. So the third question is, why did I start reading tarot? And I guess that's just kind of tied in. I feel like I answered that a little bit with how I got into it, but why did I start reading? I was really just called to it. There's really no direct answer. There's no incident that occurred that was like, okay, this happened. Some people have some like grand stories, and I kind of wish that I had a grand story, but some people have these grand stories about how they were, you know, had these really big signs that like they needed to do this in their life path. And maybe with more reflection and meditation, I'll be able to see, like, yes, I had a big sign too. But as of right now, like, I was just called to it. And I started watching other readers back years ago, started watching other astrologers and tarot readers and angel card readers on YouTube, and I would follow them, and it wasn't even like I'm gonna start doing this myself. I can do that. Like, that's not what it is. It was the interest was piqued, and I had continued to follow it, and it was like, no, this is something you need to be doing. The universe was just kind of like putting a feeling in me like, this is something that you need to actively be doing instead of just watching it, instead of just kind of following it and being interested in it. It's something you need to engage in. And I've always been a healer. I've always wanted to help people. And I do that through, in my very scorpionic ways, through uh, essentially like hard advice, hard truth that people don't want to necessarily hear, and making them confront subconscious things, unconscious things, shadow side kind of stuff. Um, Putting some things that they maybe have buried deep and just kind of putting it on blast to them. Like, well, I mean, you know that you've got this going on, right? Like that kind of thing. Um, and I acknowledge that it's kind of a harsh way to heal someone, but it's just kind of my personality. I just kind of show them what it is and then leave them to their own devices, and they'll process it in their own time, or they won't. But at least, that seed has been planted. So that's always kind of been there, and I've always wanted to help people. So in doing that, for the longest time, my perspective was that I was going to do that through practicing family law and showing people that, you can get along after a divorce or in a contentious relationship. You can co parent for children in their best interest, despite whatever you've got going on, despite whatever happened in your marriage. All that can be put aside, and you can play nice afterwards, because that's how you heal, right? By carrying things around, you don't heal. So I always thought that I was going to be healing people in that kind of capacity. And, come to find out, years later, it's like you're supposed to be doing that on a different format. You're supposed to be imputing that advice to people through the internet, through the use of these divination tools. And so that's kind of how, I guess in telling that story, it's like I've always had that in me, and I had a specific channel on how I was going to heal, and then the channel changed. I got called to do the same thing I was doing through a different medium. Haha, medium. So I know that's super nerdy. So I got called to do my healing and to give my advice through a different manner, and that's why I started reading tarot cards, because that's kind of how it was called to me. It wasn't ever a conscious decision. It's just kind of like it just developed really naturally. You just start to do it. You just follow what you feel, follow what you want to do, and that's how I started. So those are just three of kind of the main questions that people ask about me and how I get started, and a little bit about my background. If you have any questions that you want to know, or if you want to know more about me or have me answer any sort of questions, then feel free to post them below and I will go ahead and address them. So, and I'd appreciate the interest in wanting to know about all of me by my viewers. So, thanks so much for paying attention to this little, about me video, and we'll see you next time.